I want to bring in our reporter, Derek Lytle here, who is on a very fascinating story today. If you recall, 13 News Now has done several reports into federal agents finding millions of dollars worth of stolen vehicles at the Port of Virginia. They had launched an investigation into that. Derek, you were a part of the reporting when they found those vehicles. And now there's a unique twist that you were talking about today when it comes to that story. And I when he told it to me, I was just floored. So what's the latest on it?
Yeah, hey Eugene, my first time being on the stream with you, I had to bring you a kind of a surreal, hectic case, but we went and toured that facility back late August. It was around the 22nd, but we went there and they made the bust. So far, they've done about $8 million at the Port of Virginia, seizing these stolen cars, working to fight against international criminal organizations. But I was checking my social media inbox the other day on Instagram and going through my messages, and I had gotten a message from a guy that had seen our reporting on it, and it actually turns out that the stolen, seized Lamborghini that was in my story that I actually happened to be sitting in during the story was his at one point. He owned the car, and I was just so taken aback by getting that message. I had to give him a phone call, and we got to talk and had a lengthy conversation. You can see the Lamborghini there I was getting out of, but he asked if I enjoyed my time in his car, and so it was kind of a way to get our conversation started. But he's actually been dealing with a lot of problems related to this. He said people broke into his home, took his personal safe, and that personal safe had the spare keys to two Lamborghinis he owned. And we can actually go and look at some of the security footage from one of his neighbors nearby, and you'll see the cars zoom by, the first Lamborghini, and then shortly after that, the one that was in our story. These thieves made off with that as well as his personal safe, and somehow through all of this, the car was being transported overseas by these criminals, and it was seized here in the Port of Virginia, and during that bust that I happened to be a part of, came full circle. So not only that, it gets a little deeper in this because he's having to fight against the insurance company with Progressive.
This is it right here. That's the car you were in.
Yeah, that's the car you see just zoom by. And he said that a few of his neighbors actually have had their G-Wagons and other high-end cars stolen as well. So not only are they targeting homes and properties, they're targeting car dealerships, rental facilities. By the time you get smart to it's a fake name or on a loan document, the car's long gone overseas. But this gentleman just wants his car back, and
I imagine
the insurance company is telling him that they now own the vehicle, and they're only willing to pay out him $150,000 when he believes the car is worth well over $300,000. He had hardly got to drive it, only owned it for a few months, and so now that car is actually, according to a text he got from the insurance company, sitting in Suffolk. And he's curious whether his safe is still in the car. Can he come look at it? And they're saying he would have to come physically fly out here to go look at that vehicle in Suffolk. And he no longer owns it because the insurance company's claiming ownership, but he apparently still owes Porsche Financial another $100,000 on top of it just to pay off that loan, even though he no longer will be able to drive that car. So
wait a second. So you're telling me that his vehicle was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Federal agents found it at the port. Obviously, it's been seized. And now the insurance company is claiming ownership of it. So in his position, he's done nothing wrong, and he cannot get his car back, and he still has to pay on it?
Yeah, he still has to pay that other company the last $100,000 to settle up the car, but technically the car has been transferred over to the insurance company. So, this man has done nothing wrong. Obviously, it's a high-end vehicle, but, it just, you kind of getting it on both ends of the deal here, and just a unique, terrible situation. That work they're doing over at the port is just incredible. I felt like I was in a Fast and Furious movie for a second.
It looks like it. It really did.
You got, they're making busts. It's criminal organization, like syndicates across, Europe, overseas, Ghana, and this is happening right in our backyard here in Virginia. It's just a mind blowing, experience, and then to have somebody reach out and actually. Because seldom do they ever get the car back to the rightful owner or even think about having that opportunity. So the fact that the man reached out to me, and this is coming full circle, is just it's chaotic.
Yeah, it is incredible that he was able to see the report and he said, "Oh, that's my car. Let me show you." The evidence I have of that. But I really am sitting here thinking, Derek, I know you've had a conversation with this man and you're reaching out to the insurance company as well. Mm-hmm. What are they saying? Because I guess I'm struggling to understand why he can't get his car back.
It seems like a breakdown in what his insurance coverage was through an insurance broker, that it was a maximum of $150,000, and before they could technically switch those documents, the theft happened. I have reached out to Progressive just to kind of get some more clarity on it. Left a few voicemails. I haven't heard back just yet, but it'll be interesting to see. The only thing he wants is he just wants to reclaim the car. And just be settled up on it. He just is just having a struggle, it sounds like, doing that.
So he's satisfied with not getting the car back, but obviously the financial component, he wants that to be settled. That's what, when you say reclaim the car, you're not saying he...
Well, he would love the car back.
Okay, so he does want it back. I mean, I would imagine. You say you only got to drive it for a few months?
If even. He said he had just bought them in December. The two matching colored Lamborghinis, bought them in December, and they were stolen in May. He said the one only had like 4 miles on it. So.
You may have driven it as much as he did.
Hey, no, I didn't take it out on the street and have a joyride with it.
You may have had as many rides in that car as he did.
Yeah, it's insane. And he said he had his grandfather's cufflinks and other material items in that safe, and he just wants to know if it's even still in the car. The Miami Police Department actually marks this case as closed on their website. I reached out to some lead detectives there to try and get clarity if there's been arrests made. He said they dust the first car was actually found a day after it happened, from what the gentleman told me, and he said they dusted that one, weren't able to get prints off it. But I would love to hear if somebody's been held accountable for this, considering that it sounds like they've done it more than once in that neighborhood over in Miami. So
now, did you say that because it's U.S. Customs and Border Protection that were leading this, did they make any arrests? Not even just in this case, but in any of these cases? We know up to $8 million when it comes to stolen vehicles seized. I believe that was the number that you said. Have they made any arrests? Have they said that they made any arrests in these cases?
This wasn't my first time at the facility. We had done a story back, I want to say
in
early July. Yeah. And so this is something that they say, that's just within this fiscal year, that $8 million number. So this is something they're trying to crack down on. But they say every time they do go to make an arrest or get somewhere as far as moving forward, as far as progress, that these organizations only get smarter. And if they pinch somebody at the lower level of the organization, somebody else is moving to the top, and another part of it pops up the next day. So it's really just trying to stay on top of it. They don't know if they'll ever be able to fully bring an end to this type of crime. But it's fascinating to see how it affects multiple different states and jurisdictions, and brings it all back right into our backyard.
I got to ask you, as a journalist, as a reporter, the way that this story is kind of unfolded for you, right? You said that you got this message in your inbox after somebody shared the video with this guy, and he saw, I think that's your car. Sometimes for us, that's the way it happens, right? As reporters, you do your job. Sometimes it's in the right place at the right time, the right moment at the right time. So for you to do this story, this has to have been, pretty surreal how this all is unfolded.
It's that part of journalism that just kind of blows your mind a little bit, that you see a story come full circle, or you see something change because of your story. And it's something I love doing, is following up on stories, because why are we telling them if we don't, lead to the next story with it? There's always another jumping off point. And I think as a reporter, like you said, this crazy whirlwind of technology that we live in is definitely something that I think can bring a positive impact. And I think we're seeing it through stories like this.
Well, we certainly hope that in this case it can end in a resolution that is good for the person who really is the victim in all of this, and that's the guy that you're talking to, because I can't imagine how I would feel if I literally know where my car is, that I paid a handsome penny for, by the way. All right,
sticker shock a little bit.
I love my Toyota Corolla, but this is not a Corolla, okay? And to know where it is, and to not be able to bring it back home is beyond me, because he is a victim in this case.
And he also told me he had to move states because in Miami, it takes an 18-month permit process, is what he was telling me, to build a garage and get approval for that. So he didn't feel safe in his own home, obviously.
Yeah.
After people he didn't know robbed him and were in his home. I would feel the same way, wanting some sense of security, especially with, a car like that sitting in your front driveway. It only probably brings attention. And sometimes that's a very negative attention. So.
Yeah, for sure. I just can't imagine. So my best, obviously, to him. And Derek, I know that you are working on this story and putting it together. You got a lot of elements already. I mean, this security footage is golden. You can literally see the moment that whoever stole these vehicles drove away. And did I hear you correctly earlier? I don't know if you said it on the stream or in our conversations leading up to today, but one of the neighbors also became a victim. The neighbor of the person we're talking about, one of the neighbors had a vehicle, as you can see those cars driving by. They also had a vehicle stolen?
A high-end vehicle, too. He did send me a different clip that I'll be having in my story later tonight on 13 News around 4:30 and 5:30. But it was a G-Wagon. You can see two individuals hop out of a car, come over to that car, and just steal that one plain as day on the security camera. So, like I said, a lot of his neighbors, he said that wasn't the first time, probably won't be the last, and that's kind of impacted his decision to move too. But, like you said, to get that text message from Progressive that your car is sitting here in Suffolk and, hey, you can go fly out if you want to, but you can't have the car back, I can get, that side of where he's coming from.
That doesn't make sense to me. Hopefully that's something that can get resolved, because at a certain point you pay a certain amount of money for something in general. Again, being the victim of a case in this, I think there's just some questions that I have there that I know you're going to be asking. Again, I want to know how that is even possible in the first place.
And you hear the car in that video, you hear the car going, it had to be going 70 miles an hour for somebody to take your possession you worked so hard to get. And just kind of drive it like that down the street, it's kind of horrifying.
Yeah. So Derek, I look forward to your report and the answers that you get, particularly from the insurance companies as well. And hopefully there can be some kind of explanation as to why this car can't go back to this person. And then also, again, my curiosity, maybe I'll just try to dive into, I didn't even realize they can take ownership of it in a case like this, and why they wouldn't want to get it back to that person. So, man, great get. Very interesting story that fits into a huge issue that we've been following. And so, good job, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on, and we'll have to do things like this in the future. I don't know if it's going to be Fast and Furious the next time, but we'll see where that brings
maybe slow
us.
And steady. But that doesn't really sound as interesting. But you've had some interesting stories in the last month and a half, and a lot of them we talk about being at the right place at the right time. I tell you what, Derek, since he has been here, there have been a lot of stories that he has done, and I will give you kudos here on the stream.
Thanks,
because
man.
of your willingness to literally be out there in the moment, and then stuff just happens to try to find you. I mean, it's really been that case. We had a few different stories we don't have to get into right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's some moments where he's just been at the right place at the right time, and it's really worked well for you.
That's the thing you can't explain in journalism, right? It's just sometimes things happen for a reason, and they happen to be there. But I really appreciate it, man. That means a lot to me.
For sure, man. All right, go ahead and finish your report, because you got to think of less than an hour.
Yeah, I got to get going on it.
So go ahead. We got to find a way to get this car for this guy. So that's Derek Lytle, man. You can catch his report for the first time. It's going to be on 13 News Now at 4:30, and at 5:30. And, of course, after that, it will go online, 13newsnow.com. And remember, you can also watch our shows here live, or once they air, you can go back and watch them on the 13 News Now Plus app. Okay, Naya, I can't believe that. I mean, before we go back to this trial, I know it's going, but I got to ask you, Naya, that was incredible to have your car stolen and you know where it is, because that's half the battle most of the time when we do these stories about cars that are stolen. We just don't know where they are. They know where it is.
I've had some crazy insurance stories, but that tops it.
I would be beside myself. You mean you know where my car is? It's intact and I can't get it back? No. I understand why this man reached out to Derek. So hopefully we can see something change there.